Let's go live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final episode of 2020 of Pure Finesse Podcast. We're welcoming back the usual guest, the usual suspect, Mr. Spinach Dip, Buffalo Bills sponsored, Pepsi sponsored, Mathias Lovera. Mathias, how are we today, sir?
Happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes,
Of course.
Love the show. Some two great guys. Let's get to it.
Yeah, well, me and Malcolm, me and Mathias, I should say, didn't have the best luck in the fantasy league. You see that we like to talk about that on his podcast a lot. But Malcolm made us join the join the fantasy league. Malcolm, are you a fan of people? What did Mathias say? Matriculating men's butts with the ass tats?
I'm not a
Are you
fan of it.
of that? No.
I think the problem was we had a corrupt commissioner, so he wanted to say whatever he did. But no, I'm not a fan of that. Only wanted it to happen if Jay lost, and obviously he didn't. So I wanted you to get the ass tat.
Oh yeah, me and Mathias are pretty scared for the last couple of weeks because we were fighting for last place for I would say most of the season. But today's go ahead, Mathias.
I was just hoping that the players that I drafted would put up more points than 5. You pick up guys like Lamar, Tyreek Hill, Michael Gallup, and you hope that they do something well for you, and yet you're fighting for last place with the Cleveland Steamers.
Best name in all of fantasy football. But today everybody's got their top 10 list for the best sports moments of 2020. So we're just going to go 10 through 1 for each of our lists. Since Mathias is the guest, the ever so humble Mathias, I should say. Let's start off with number 10, bud.
This one kind of just came in 24 hours ago, and I'm going with Johnny Manziel returns to football. Money Manziel. If you guys don't remember, he was an absolute stud at Texas A&M. The house that Johnny built. Youngest Heisman in college football history. Got drafted by the Browns. Kind of messed up his career a little bit. Not taking it so seriously. Kind of went the party route, but whatever. I know a lot of guys have trouble, adjusting to fame, but yet still one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen play at the college level or at any level for that matter. Obviously, the league is 7-on-7. The fans control the teams, the play calls, and I think the rosters and the way they're selected. I think the details are still being finalized. It's got a lot of funding from Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch, Quavo, just to name a few. It's 7v7, non-contact, so flag football essentially. And this is Johnny Manziel's, kind of game, running around, making big plays.
I won the Heisman.
Yeah,
exactly. Interesting to see who they pick up. So that's kind of my number 10, kind of a weak number 10, but I like it. I'm a big Johnny Manziel guy, and I think it's good for.
Yes, sir, man. I went to the first game that Johnny Manziel started for the Ticats. So how are you?
There we go.
Yes,
supporting the Ticats.
Of course. Oski wee wee. Number 10 for my list is, of course, the Cleveland Browns changing their narrative. It's been pretty well documented. These two here on the screen like to trip me real hard about the Cleveland Browns records these last couple of years. And actually, since they came back in the league in 99, if you're Malcolm. But they're going to have a winning season this year for the first time in 14. And it looks like, fingers crossed, they're making the playoffs for the first time since 2002.
Knock on wood there. Holy.
Yeah, for real. But, they have been the laughing stock of the NFL, again, since they came back into the league in 99.
Yeah.
10-5. At worst case, they're finishing 10-6. And I would say if you told me in September that they would finish 10-6, I would say it's nothing but a success. First-year coach in a COVID hit year is nothing short of a miracle for these Cleveland Browns for sure.
Yeah, but do you think they're I know they still haven't made the playoffs yet, but they changed the narrative having a winning season. Do you think they're able to pull it off against a practice squad? Basically?
I was going to say, your Pittsburgh Steelers are missing a lot of guys on Sunday. No TJ Watt, no Cam Hayward, no Ben Roethlisberger.
No Pouncey.
Exactly. You got Jeannie Bouchard's boy toy and Mason Rudolph starting the game for him. I know.
And that's what I told you, right? I told you that they're probably going to rest players. And
and I don't see why not. You have to.
It's great news.
Yeah.
Best news all year.
Yeah. I'll go to my number 10. I think this one was kind of long overdue for this team, and it's the Dodgers winning the World Series this year. Obviously, we all know the past few years, actually. In 2017, they lost the World Series, and in 2018, so back-to-back. And then in 2019, they lost in the NLDS. And then this year, finally winning 4-2 over the Tampa Bay Rays to finally clinch that World Series that they've been working so hard for. Like this has kind of been a team that's known winning for such a long time. And obviously with the shorter season, it's not like they could put up 96 wins or 100 wins like the other years. They still put up like 40 in a shortened season. So that was really good to see. Also, kind of that was the highlight after the championship was like the mask and COVID controversy with, I can't remember his name. You guys probably
Justin
remember.
Turner.
Justin Turner. That's not really like a best moment, but I'm just saying, I think that's more a lot of people are going to remember this for just because it was in COVID. But the Dodgers finally winning. That's why I have them at number 10.
Yeah,
I thought it
TSN
I thought
had that game as game 4 of the World Series as the best game of the year.
Really?
Yeah. What were you going to say,
Wow.
Mateus?
I think it's kind of like whack that people kind of bashed him for that. You know what I mean? Like you're with your teammates. Like you've been with those guys for God knows how long. You've been with your teammates more than he had been with his family. You know what I mean? So to kind of bash him for not having his mask on or whatever the case may be was kind of weird. Obviously, like like it's COVID. You're gonna like you want people to adhere to the rules, especially professional athletes. But like the odds of him getting COVID were kind of slim compared to like any other person because of who he was with. You know
Well,
what I mean?
let alone it was in the 7th inning. It wasn't at the start of
Yeah,
the
that was
game,
weird.
right? That was what made it
Yeah.
really weird. They just pulled him off in the middle of the game rather than just calling him out before the game started or before or at the morning of saying you had COVID. Doesn't make no
Like I don't think we've seen that in any other case so far where a player's been pulled out mid-game. Like, oh, here you got your COVID test, you're positive. I don't think we've seen that at all since then or before then. So it's really weird, especially.
Actually, no, Des Bryant in
That's
warm-up.
right, Des
Oh
Bryant.
yeah, in warm up. Yep, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Imagine working hard just to get back to the road, facing your former or not your former team. Yeah, your
Yes,
former
it was.
team.
It was against the
Your
Cowboys.
former team, yep.
And mid warm up, mid getting ready, his body's all loose. He's gone through his game day preparations, and you get yoinked in the middle of warm ups because you have COVID.
He tested negative afterwards too. Like it was weird. So that was weird too.
Do you think he'll get a ring if the Ravens win?
They have to. He has to. I
Yeah.
think.
But the Ravens will win.
He's not
So
playing. He said he's not playing the rest of the year.
he played just the other day. He got
Yeah,
a
he got
touchdown.
a touchdown.
Oh, okay. So he rescinded the fact that he didn't want
Yeah,
to play.
he's playing.
Yeah,
He's
typical
playing.
Des Bryant fashion.
Yeah.
Oh, fair
But
enough.
Mateus, good number 9 there, bud. What's your number 9?
Number 9. This might go over the head of some people who don't follow like college football and don't follow like recruits. But mine is Deion Sanders is selected as Jackson State new head coach and is able to flip his son Shedeur Sanders, 4-star quarterback from Texas Christian high school, to flip him from Florida Atlantic University to an HBCU. I thought this was a tremendous move by Deion. I don't think it was that much in doubt if Deion was selected at Jackson State that Shedeur wasn't going to follow his dad to Jackson State, especially with the trend of a lot of high-level recruits going to traditional programs such as Alabama, LSU, traditional Power 5 schools, and not really going the HBCU route. So I think this is a tremendous move, kind of bringing the lights and the glory and the glitz to an uncharted territory. Not a lot of 5-star recruits and 4-star recruits go to HBCUs. I think getting a great Hall of Famer in Deion, prime time. I think getting his son Shedeur, who's a tremendous quarterback, shows tremendous talent. Dual threat, can move the ball, can run it, can throw it. Very smart, technically sound. I think this was probably one of the bigger moments in college football of the year in terms of recruiting and the hiring, firing coaches. This is my 9.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Deion Sanders to go join the booth and be on ESPN Monday Night Football. So hopefully
Awesome to see.
sooner rather than later, but I'm sure he's going to do good things at Jackson State for sure. Number 9 for me is one that you guys had a bit more higher on your list, but it's Alphonso Davies having an absolutely bombastic season in 2020.
Yep.
Alphonso winning the treble in Germany. He's a Champions League champion, the first ever Canadian to hoist that Champions League trophy. Named to the FIFA Best Men's 11 as the best left back in the world. And he co-won the Lou Marsh Award with Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. So
yeah.
I'm sure I'll leave some more points for you guys to get into with that one because I know you guys have this one on your list. But number 9 is for Alphonso Davies.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, we'll talk about him more because I think Mathias and I both have them in maybe top 5. But my number 9 is Dustin Johnson winning the Masters this year. This is another guy, just like the Dodgers, is another guy long overdue getting this championship, winning the Masters. He's been good for such a long time, shooting a total of -20 throughout the whole tournament. It was good to see.
Record.
We remember, the record. We remember Tiger with his 10 hole. Everyone didn't like to see that in the Masters, but seeing Dustin Johnson winning $2 million. I know you guys know a bit more about golf too, and I think Mathias maybe has us a bit higher up, so I'll let him talk about more too. But yeah, that's what I have at number 9.
He's winning on and off the course, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he is.
Mathias, what's your number 8, my friend?
I got the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Stanley Cup. I think they've been through a lot. You know, they lost to Columbus, and they fell short the year after, and now they just kind of got the redemption. You know, you have an absolute stellar squad. Stammer, you know, big Steven Stamkos. You know, you got Ryan Callahan there, a couple other guys. I think Tampa Bay just had all the pieces lined up. You know what I mean? I think Kuznetsov had a great year.
Kucherov.
That's what I'm thinking of. Kucherov. I think Kuch had a great year. In terms of what they've done, I think they've kind of like, they're that team that like, it doesn't matter how many players are down. You can always see them, you know, winning a game, whether they're missing 3 guys from their first line and bringing in rookies from their AHL squad. I think they're just a well-run team.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if Tampa gives another run this year with the new line divisions. But I'm going to take Tampa at 8 winning the cup.
Hey, shout out to Wardown, Ontario's Carter Verhaeghe for hoisting the Lord Stanley on that Tampa Bay Lightning team. Big shout out. Number 8 for me is Hail Murray, with Kyler Murray showing off big time with your boy DeAndre Hopkins for a last-second touchdown to kill the Buffalo Bills. Killed my money line. You know, had Buffalo by 2. They were up by 2, and then Hail Murray cost me $250. You know, I'm not salty about it. It's over. What can you do, right? Whatever. But yeah, we haven't seen much Hail Marys in the NFL this year, minus Derek Carr somehow keeping the Vegas Raiders from losing to the New York Jets. But Kyler Murray's making a good case to could get some MVP votes this year, and they're just holding on to that last and final playoff spot in the NFC by the skin of their teeth. So number 8 is Hail Murray.
Yeah, that was just a great play to watch that whole game. Number 8 for me, this happened early in 2020, and this is Joe Burrow defeating Clemson in the college football championship. In his senior year, he just balled out. They went 15-0. He passed for over 560,100 passing yards, 60 touchdowns, only 6 picks, close to 400 yards rushing, and 5 rushing touchdowns. And obviously, me being the Clemson fan, it was not a fun game to watch in the finals. It wasn't that close. It wasn't close as everyone expected it to be. Joe Burrow obviously earning the right to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft months after. In that game, threw for almost 500 yards with 463 and 5 passing touchdowns. So him just balling out 15-0, winning the championship, getting drafted number 1. I think that was a really good moment for a lot of people to see. So number 8.
I heard that this Ohio State game against Clemson on New Year's is going to be a tough one to watch too for Clemson fans.
I think it was for Ohio State, just like last year too. It's going to be a repeat.
That Dabo TikTok?
Which one?
I said that to Jay.
Yeah. Man.
Sweetie Rock, Double Sweeney is now on TikTok.
He's on TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
More cringy than your jersey, bud.
I like Dabo's recruiting. Don't get me wrong. Dabo poaches a lot of players from my Roll Tide, but going on TikTok just to steal a couple 3-star recruits isn't cutting it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Mathias, it's your number 7, my friend.
My number 7, I'm going Dustin Johnson wins the Masters. Just an unbelievable showing for the guy. This is kind of like the first Masters I've kind of like watched through and through, from opening day all the way down to the final Sunday. Just because like I picked up golf, obviously because of COVID, and I wanted to keep myself. I wanted to feel the competitive edge, and obviously Jay and I went first
most
round.
Honest golfer I've ever met, Mathias. The most honest golfer ever.
Oh, I shoot on average 115.
That's what I'm saying, man. You are the most honest golfer ever. No drops, no mulligans, no nothing. I commend you for it.
Well, me taking a drop me taking a mulligan isn't going to take my 115 to an 86. It's going to take it from 115 to 114. So it doesn't make much of a difference. Mm-hmm. So no, I kind of found like a new appreciation for like, how difficult it is and how there was times where like I wasn't hitting the right shot. I was getting frustrated.
Yeah, I hope we don't talk to those guys in front of us at Whirlpool, eh?
Oh, God. Obviously like when Jay and I went to go play, like it was obviously like I was getting frustrated just trying to like even just get my rhythm going. I can only imagine the stress levels you could have when you're playing for $2 million, right? So I think I think Justin Johnson is one of the best golfers right now. I put him, I put Tiger, Phil, Brooks Koepka in the mix, Rory, DeChambeau. I put all.
DeChambeau.
I would put those guys together. I think DJ had an absolutely unreal round. You could see that he was just lasered in. He was laser focused. So yeah, that's my 7.
Yeah, like Dustin Johnson's got a lot of knocks on him for like not being able to close out majors, right?
Yeah.
And he's the one that has escaped him has been the Masters. He's won the U.S. Open. Obviously, he's been close at the PGA, but yeah, and it's been noted. But he wins on off the course. Number 7 for me, sticking with golf, it's Charlie Woods stealing the show at the PNC Championship not too long ago out in Orlando. Absolutely unbelievable performance. Charlie Woods is the 11-year-old son of Tiger Woods, if anyone doesn't know. And he played absolutely lights out, has a better swing than me already, and he's 11 years old. It's unbelievable. Sticking pins 4 or 5 feet every time, pinstriping fairways, wearing the same outfits as Tiger. Both of them had the same Sunday red, and he was giving the Tiger fist pumps, and it was just an unbelievable sight to see. It was can't miss TV. So number 7 for me is Charlie Woods.
I like to play at a hidden lake. I think that course might give him for a challenge.
Yeah, I think so. Let's play 500 a hole with Charlie Woods. I like that.
Didn't he shoot like 62 in that tournament?
Yeah, it was father-son, so Tiger's helping him a couple holes, but
helping him out too. But he made an eagle on one hole.
Yeah, he would definitely carried some of the holes for sure at 11 years old. Unbelievable.
He's crazy. Number 7 for me. This one kind of bugs Toronto fans maybe a little bit, Toronto Maple Leafs fans, but it's David Aries, the Zamboni driver, comes in as goalie for Carolina and beats Toronto. So in this game, he came into the game in the second period because Reimer and Mrazek were both injured, so they needed the backup goalie, the emergency goalie. He had a rocky start. He let him the first 2 shots, so he let them in. But after that, he stopped the next 8, and the Canes would go on to win 6-3. The funny thing is, he was wearing a Maple Leafs shirt under his jersey the whole time.
He's a Marley Zamboni driver.
Yeah, he's the Marley Zamboni driver. He was wearing it under his shirt the whole time. And he also set a record for being the oldest goalie to win in his regular season debut at 42 years old and 194 days. So that was pretty cool to see. Obviously, not everyone gets the chance to play in an NHL game. And me as a goalie, like that's awesome to see. Just some guy just living his dream out there on the ice and getting the win too against probably his favorite team. So yeah, number 7, David Aries.
Yeah, I still can't watch the highlights of that game. Just haunts me. But number 6, Mr. Mathias, what is it, my friend?
I got the Dodgers winning the World Series. I think LA kind of finally got over their title drought. LA, the Lakers got their ring. I'll talk about that more later. I think the Dodgers are kind of due for one. They've been ever so close. They kind of put together a dream team, of all-stars. So I think it was about time, LA, the Dodgers got their ring, and it was only so fitting that the stadium was empty because I don't think most LA fans watch a lot of baseball. So
it's so facts.
The only time I've seen a full LA Dodgers
is if Magic Johnson's in the crowd.
Exactly. So I'm taking the Dodgers at 6 to win the World Series.
Yeah, people think Toronto fans are corrupt. Just look at LA fans. Seriously,
unbelievable.
It really is. Number 6. Go ahead, Mathias.
More fans of Venice Beach for pickup basketball games.
Yes, sir. Hey, did you see Jack Leo and Roddy Black a couple of years ago down at Venice Beach playing basketball?
Oh, that's a sight to see right there.
It really is. Get that garbage out of here. Number 6, Malcolm already touched upon. It's David Ayers still on the show. Yeah, being a Leafs fan, that stings still to see that an emergency backup goaltender was able to beat a playoff team, or I guess not really a playoff team in Toronto. But as soon as
ouch.
Yeah. I kid you not that when I saw David Ayers coming in, I thought it was going to be a bloodbath because, like you said, Malcolm, he gave up the first 2 goals.
Yeah.
But it's not like the Leafs playing stellar defense the whole night, right? I thought it was going to be like, I don't know, 9-7, 8-9, like old-time 1940s hockey where you see a ton of goals. But David Ayers settled, if I could say this without laughing, that David Ayers settled in and played decent hockey. And he got a nice little water shower from the Hurricanes, and they got the Hockey Night in Canada towel on his neck. So, living on a boyhood dream, David Ayers.
Yeah, I think he's living all our dreams, making it to the show just for one game. Number 6 for me, this happened kind of recently. It's Sarah Fuller becoming the first female in a Power 5 college football game with Vanderbilt, and she became the first female to score in a major conference football game. Obviously, this was a huge moment in sports for many reasons. In this game, she kicked off only in the second half against the University of Missouri. In the season, she was only 2 of 2 from extra points. But in those 2 games, Vanderbilt lost 41-0 and 42-17. So it's not even like every chance she had, she made it. It's not like they gave her a lot of chances to show off her legs. So kind of sucks to see that they couldn't put up more points so she could kick them in. And yeah, I just think it was a great moment for women to finally be included in sports, because like in this position, like as a kicker in football, that's a position where this can happen, and you can integrate both men and women in the sport. So I'd love to see it, and that's what I have at number 6.
Yeah, you could thank Vanderbilt for being so good. So that's why we saw Sarah Fuller make her first points in her second game. Yeah, Vanderbilt, laughing stock of the SEC.
Yeah.
Mathias, number 5. We definitely don't have this one on our list. What is it, my friend?
Oh yeah.
I got Devontae Davis defeats Leo Santa Cruz to retain the World Boxing Association lightweight title and to win the World Boxing Association super featherweight title. Devontae Davis, you guys follow a lot of boxing. Tank Davis, undefeated right now, kind of following in the footsteps of his predecessor and his mentor, Floyd Money Mayweather, or some people know him as Pretty Boy Floyd. I think the sport of boxing right now is kind of being overshadowed by these clowns like Bryce Hall and Logan Paul.
Pauls, yeah.
All these YouTubers, looking to make a quick buck and, not willing to, get their MMA license. They just kind of want to do the little celebrity bullshit and, touch up gloves and look tough, for their TikToks, viewers, whatever the case may be. In the words of Dana White, I think the state of boxing right now is kind of a joke. But the only guys kind of keeping it alive right now, the likes of one of the guys keeping it around right now is Devontae Davis. I think he's an unbelievable fighter, only 26 years old, out of Baltimore, Maryland. Every time he goes back to Baltimore, he shows much love to his community. You can show that he's a very humble man. I love to see him get more title shots headed up into 2021. I think he will. Interesting to see how his management approaches the changing of weights. He's been looking at going up a weight class to see how he fares, but like most boxers, it's going to take a little bit of time. But Devontae Davis, man, one of the more overlooked fighters. If you don't watch a lot of boxing, you kind of go to the Canelos, the Klitschko's, the Tyson Furies. But if you really watch, like lightweight and super featherweight boxing, Devontae Davis is a bad man and a hard hitter. So I'm going with Devontae Davis at 5.
I just want to just stick to boxing for a second. You're talking about featherweights into the lighter weight classes. I want to hear your opinion if you think Vasily Lomachenko is overrated.
I think he's fine.
Okay.
I think the only issue with him is just that like he under promotes himself in a sense where he's so humble to a point, to a fault, right? So you gotta remember about boxing, right? It's prize fighting. The man with the bigger name will always sell more pay-per-views, right? That's why the guys like Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Floyd, let's go on, Rocky Marciano. Those guys will always be guys that you'll remember to the day I die, right? I've never watched Rocky Marciano box.
Me neither, but I have autographed picture of Rocky Marciano in my room, so yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So a guy like Lomachenko, what he has to do is essentially he's already a household name.
Absolutely, without a question.
He's a stud fighter.
Well, before he lost, right? I would think he was the best pound for pound fighter in ESPN's rankings.
Well, ESPN has a tendency to jack off whoever they feel. Excuse my language. But with him is that he has to get a bit more cocky, if in a sense where he has to kind of go after big guys. Like Terrence Crawford likes to go at guys who different ways.
Absolutely.
So you kind of have to have a little bit of confidence in yourself to sell yourself to the media, right? What Floyd did, I'm gonna use example as Floyd because he's one of the best fighters at doing this. Is he sold himself in a way where he appealed to everybody, whether you loved him or hate him. He has a famous quote: some people pay to watch me win, some people pay to watch me lose, but everybody pays me, right? So my dad personally hated Floyd Mayweather. Oh, he's cocky, he's arrogant, but guess what? Every fight that Floyd was in, me and my dad watched it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same thing with McGregor now, right? Like a lot of people hate him because he's cocky or whatever, but everyone's going to tune in to watch him.
You love watching the guy fight.
Exactly.
So I think he has to hit that point right now where he has to he's kind of tailing off in his career. I think he's 27, 28?
Yeah, he's getting up there. But yeah, so I think everyone talks about his amateur boxing career more than his pro career.
Because his amateur career was more promoted.
I was going to say, the more accolades was with the amateur boxing, right? He's
exactly.
got Olympic medals to his name, right? So
I think at 27, 28 right now, he's got 5 big main card fights, like 5 big name before he hits kind of that what do you want to do stage. Because once
Right.
he's 33, he might look to disappear, right? He might look, you know what, I'm done. Or he might, fight
The money's
once
there,
every,
right? The money's
once
there.
every 2 years, right? Now he's 27, 28. He wants to fight at least 1 or 2 times a year, which is fine. You
Right.
can fight 1 time a year and make your money, or fight 2 times a year and get your rank up, whatever the case may be. So I think, without straying away too much from the point and kind of wanting to keep forward, I think he has to promote himself more. That's just my seeing. I just think he just needs to make a couple call outs and kind of get his name around to generate more revenue and more worth for himself. And then I think he'd be golden. I think
Absolutely.
the Patriots right in center.
Sticking with the list, I got my number 5, the OG Anunoby buzzer beater against the Boston Celtics, Malcolm's Boston Celtics, I might add, in the Orlando bubble. What was it? 0.7, 0.9 on the clock, 0.5, something along those lines.
0.5,
Yeah, I'm sure I know you remember. And
Yeah.
Taco Fall guarding the ball against Kyle Lowry, absolutely dropping the dime to OG Anunoby. No hesitation, just steps up and drains it. Apparently, OG doesn't shoot to miss, right? Yeah, that press conference doesn't shoot to miss. That's why he was so
Obviously.
calm, cool, and collected. But yeah, but Raptors, they don't really have a nice history with buzzer beaters and the outcome of the games, right? Because remember 2016, Kyle Lowry hitting that buzzer beater to send it to overtime, and they lost. And, OG, that was for the win in the game, but eventually we all know how that series ended for Toronto, losing in 7 games to the Celtics. But yeah, nevertheless, probably one of the best moments of the bubble in 2020 is OG's buzzer beater.
Yeah, and I gotta agree with you because I have them right at number 5 too. I had the OG buzzer beater versus the Celtics. Right before Daniel Tice scored off that nasty feed with Kemba Walker. I remember watching this with my roommates and like, oh, it's over. 0.05, it's over.
Yeah, I remember if you were on FaceTime with me and you guys were up ahead by like 10, 15 seconds, and then you guys were all celebrating. I'm like, what happened? And they just watch. I'm like, oh.
And yeah, and then so they're down, and then Lowry, and this is the thing too in the bubble where Lowry had the advantage of being able to back up. I'm not saying it was still a great pass, don't get me wrong, but in an NBA game during the season with no bubble, there's the fans there, so you don't have that much space to kind of like get that ball over them. But still, great pass over 7-5 Taco Fall nonetheless. So it's hard to do that. Perfect pass right over to OG over Brown. Jaylen Brown was late to get there. Obviously made the series 2-1. The funniest thing was OG just walking off like a badass. There's no reaction, no celebrations. Like, yeah, I just hit that. And it's like, that's what I do. You can't lie. That was just a good moment.
Hoosiers basketball, baby. That's Hoosiers basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
Larry Legend type stuff.
Larry Legend type stuff right there. Exactly.
So we got second half of the list coming up. Matthias, what is your number 4 on the rankings?
I got the Canadian boy himself, the golden age of Canadian football. I got Alphonso Davies, wins a couple Canadian awards. I think it was Canadian Male Athlete of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. He got another every year.
Canadian Press Athlete of the Year.
They come up with these new awards every minute of the day. But he won a slew of Canadian awards, like the Toronto Sun's guy with the nicest smile or some
Probably
like that.
But
biggest, professional,
nicest haircut or something.
Exactly. He got the treble up in Deutschland, up in Germany. Fantastic player. With all jokes aside, he's an absolute generational talent. Obviously, he's still young.
I know he's our age, 20 years old. Unbelievable.
Exactly. You look at his performance against Barcelona, just absolutely handing himself with pure class. Kind of disappointed to see Messi react the way he reacted when Alfonso asked for his jersey. Obviously, Messi was a bit upset at the way the game ended, but at the end of the day, we're all humans, we're all getting our emotions. I'm sure if the second time around, if Alfonso asks for Messi's jersey, I'm sure Messi will hand it over, no problem.
Yeah.
But sticking with that, he's a fantastic kid. The way he's kind of been thrusted into the spotlight, especially in a top 5 league like the German league, like the Bundesliga, I think is phenomenal. You rarely hear him doing anything stupid. He's always nice. He's always humble. Every interview he does, he always has a smile on his face. He just the way he carries himself, even on the internet. A lot of people give him smack, say no, you're overrated, but he just kind of brushes it off and kind of does his thing. Might I add that he smashed PSG twice, kind of Google
out.
Yeah. If you're informed about what's going on in the world, he did smash PSG twice. Little PG-13 joke for all you folks out there. But yeah, I got Alphonso Davies at 4.
Yeah, absolute stud of a girlfriend he's got on. If you're saying PSG twice, I know what you mean. Number 4 for myself is Sarah Fuller making history. Malcolm already touched upon it. I won't get too much in depth because Malcolm did a pretty good job of explaining it already, but this is definitely paving the way for more females to get into the sport of football
Yep.
and be kickers, right? I remember I was a couple of years ago on Mathias' Philadelphia Eagles, Carly Lloyd hitting field goals. That,
Yeah.
that almost happened, right? So with Sarah Fuller actually making this happen, I think it opens the door for a lot of girls to say, hey, I can do this and, boot 50-yard field goals, no problem. So
Might I add that Carly Lloyd went toe to toe with Vince Wilfork at Hard Knocks with the Houston Texans, and Big Vince kept up. Big Vince kept up. Yeah, I'm not trying to take away anything, but yeah, obviously very interesting.
Just hang a thing up baby back ribs in front of Vince, and he'll do anything for you.
There you go.
Number 4 for Malcolm. Let's see it, bud.
Yeah, you guys already touched upon it. It was Alphonso Davies just going off this year. You guys really named all the awards he could possibly get. Like, one thing he didn't get, he was the runner-up for UEFA Defender of the Year, which is runner-up at 20 years old. That's ridiculous. Obviously, FC Bayern going 23 consecutive wins this year. I think you guys really touched on it a lot. I'm just happy to see a Canadian guy this successful in soccer, because you don't hear a lot about, especially in men's. Like, you don't hear about Canadians being this successful, and he's only 20 years old and he's already this successful. He's paving the way for a lot of young soccer players for years to come. So Alphonso Davies, number 4.
Top 3, Mathias. Let's see it. Number 3.
I hate to say it, and it pains me because I'm a Jordan guy all the way through.
Yeah, that's very noted.
Hats off to LeBron for getting his 4th. As much as I love to hate I can't stand him. Like, I just don't like him because of what he's done to Toronto, and he's
LeBronto.
He's just the mecca of everything. But as a man and as a human being, he's the most A1 person I've never met with that I can tell. You can tell he's humble to the core. But aside from the basketball fact, you can tell that what he does is from the bottom of his heart, and what he loves is taking care of people, because he knows what people have been through, because he's gone through that stuff. Open up the I Promise School, whether it be donating money to charity, whether it be, help making sure his kids are always taken care of. And, a lot of people, give him smack and saying, oh, LeBron's spoiling his children. I think that's kind of unfair criticism. A guy like LeBron, who literally came from nothing,
Exactly.
single mom. I think LeBron kind of saw, as a man, right, the greatest joy in life isn't, you can win all the accolades in the world, you can win Nobel Peace Prizes, Super Bowls, MVPs, but the greatest joy in life is being a father. And being a father, at some point, like, it's gonna happen to all of us. Like I hate to burst your bubble.
It will.
But
crack it up over here.
Yeah, Jay's scared.
Mr. Sentimental Mathias. Who do we on this side of him, man? Seriously.
I've never seen this side of Mathias.
Me neither.
But when you think about it, right, he's done so much for his children. You can tell that he genuinely does it because he cares. He doesn't do it because he wants the attention. You see him at his son's basketball games in high school. And this guy's jumping up and down because he's happy, right? And the media gives him smack that LeBron's being an attention seeker. No, man. Like, when your kid at 13, 14 is pulling off plays like that, I would be over the moon. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then people gave him smack for doing the dunk lineup with his AAU team. Like, shut up, man. Like, just because your father thought you were a horrible basketball player doesn't mean you have to shade LeBron for joining a dunk line. I've warmed up with my brother's team before, and I wasn't even on the game sheet. You know what I mean? Like, there's stuff like that. Like, if I was LeBron, you know what I mean, you give back. And kind of going back to the basketball thing, I think his 4th title, kind of puts him in that conversation for 2.
Yeah.
It definitely does. And the scary thing is that he's not done yet. I think a lot of people forget the fact that he's not done yet. He puts, I think a study came out. It was $1.5 million into recovery and wellness.
Yeah.
So he invests $1.5 million alone on just taking care of his body. And I don't know if you guys know a lot about cars, but some cars get worse with age, and some cars just stay the same.
Ferment like fine wine, baby.
Exactly. So I think LeBron's 4th ring, and although it sucks to say, because
he's choking on reality right now.
I'm such a Jordan guy. There's a possibility, there's a high possibility that he could get 2 more before he's done.
Yeah, 100%.
And at that point, I'm not going to give up Jordan being the GOAT, but I think you would have to cement Jordan as not Jordan, LeBron as number 2 all time.
Absolutely. Yeah. He wants to play with his son, Bronny, right? So what? He's got 3 more years, 4 more years before that's a reality. So,
I'm going to wait for this podcast when I know we talked about it a long time ago. The
oh,
Jordan
yeah.
versus
The Jordan LeBron debate. That was
I
a
love that
heated,
one. So
heated
that's going to be
debate.
coming in
Well,
2021. Don't you worry. That's going to be coming.
before I kind of end it off here, kind of go with the whole thing of, he wants to play with his son.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird now because the NBA is in a weird stage because, LaMelo was supposed to go to college, deferred, went to Europe and just got drafted. So I think the college one and done by the time Bronny hits
Yeah, I might not even be there. You're right.
17, 18, I don't think he'll even have to worry about going to college. Or what he might do, which might be the smartest thing, is opt out of going to college, training with his dad the off season, and then declaring for the draft. Because you don't necessarily I think all you have to do is be 19 or 18 to declare for the draft and spend a year off. I think that's like the
Yeah,
rule.
you should be. Yeah, you have to be 1 year removed from high school.
Yeah.
So all
is
he has
the
to
only
do is
thing.
just take a gap year,
Yeah.
like we would normal university
Victory
declare.
lap.
Exactly.
So he essentially could, skip out the super senior year of high school, which I'm sure he probably will do. He's got nothing left to prove in high school, and then take the year off, go train with his dad, and declare for the draft the following year. So there's a possibility that LeBron playing with Bronny, it's a very much a reality. It's just a matter of how the NBA conducts himself moving forward.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's my number 3, LeBron getting his 4th NBA title.
Yes, sir. Number 3 for myself, Akil Thomas scoring the game-winning goal against the Russians in the World Junior Championship of 2020. Way back in January, everyone Canadian can thank the video camera on top of the boards there from saving a delay a game penalty and being able to see Akil Thomas score the game-winning goal. He didn't get much playing time that whole World Junior Championship. That's well documented. On his 20th birthday, I might add, scoring that goal with a minute and 26 seconds, I believe, left to give Canada its back-to-back gold medal championship wins. Who knew what the year was like after? Who would have predicted what the year would be after Akil Thomas scoring that game-winning goal? But yeah, this is one of the best memories of 2020 for him and for Canada as a whole. So number 3 is Akil Thomas scoring the game-winning goal, clinching the gold medal.
That feels like ages ago, honestly.
It does. It feels surreal, man.
Yeah, and I'm happy Canada's playing good this year. They play Finland tonight, so hopefully they win and win it again this year. My number 3, you guys kind of mentioned it already too. I think Mathias touched on it, was Tampa Bay winning the Stanley Cup. Obviously, what really made me put this up higher than everything else is obviously they lost to Columbus. They got swept by Columbus a year or two before. But Steven Stamkos came in and he scored a goal in Game 3. He made it 2-0 in a 5-2 win. So he got that goal after like 10 seconds or something after Kucherov scored. And I just think it was about time. It was kind of like that LA Dodgers situation. Like it's about time they won it because they've been there before. They lost to was it who did they lose to? The LA no. Who did they lose to in the Stanley Cup? Was it the LA Kings? Yeah. No, that was yeah, they won too. Yeah, so yeah, the LA Kings.
No, Chicago.
Chicago.
Ben Bishop ran into his own guy and Patrick Sharp tucked it in. Empty.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so we remember them going that far. They've always been that team finishing high up, like first, second place in the league, sometimes not being able to get it. This year they do. Stamkos came in after battling all those injuries.
Which we still don't know what it was for whatever reason.
Pardon?
Still don't know what the injury was.
Yeah, still, but we know he's ready this year. But I have Tampa and Stamkos winning the cup this year at number 3.
We're down to our last 2 picks. Mathias, number 2.
This was kind of a no-brainer for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. This kind of leads into the spinach.
We'll get into the spinach tip in a minute. Don't you worry.
But no, I think the Kansas City Chiefs had an absolute stellar squad, stellar quarterback. We look at the likes of Tyrann Mathieu, on the defensive side of the ball. They had a great front seven. Then you look on the offensive side of the ball, you have Mecole Hardman, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Patty Mahomes.
So many names.
Andy Reid as your head coach, former Philadelphia Eagle, at Shady
Got
McCoy.
some roots to that one, eh?
Yeah.
Couple Eagles, getting the Super Bowl rings, not a big deal. How are you? Kind of taking down the 49ers. It was nice to see that Kansas City finally get a ring. In the words of Donald Trump, congrats to the greatest city in the world of Kansas City on getting a ring. Absolute clown, absolute moron, absolute muffin head. But the Chiefs deserved it, man. They were the best all-around team that year. Every game they played, it was like watching a movie of how many highlights they had alone. You think back to the Houston game, down 24 zip. I'm sure if you were a betting man and you put $10 on Houston and the return was like 210 or something like that, you would have cashed out at 210 because they're up 21 down. And then if you flip the 210 back into a little money line for the Chiefs to win, you're a laughing man. I think Kansas City played a great year that year. It wouldn't surprise me if they win again this year. So that's my number 2.
Yeah, we can't wait for my number 1 because we'll get into more of that conversation later.
Oh,
Mathias is a little excited about that one. Number 2 for me is the Toronto Maple Leafs comeback in the bubble against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Game 4 of the qualifying round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It looked pretty dire for the Maple Leafs, down 3-0 with only 2 minutes to go left, and then you see,
I think 3 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
something weird.
Willie Nylander gets his first goal of the playoffs. He makes it 3-1. Then John Tavares, he gets one with a minute and a half left to make it 3-2. Almost gave up an empty netter goal. Morgan Riley tripping over Willie Nylander's stick, and then I don't know how they didn't score, but they didn't. And then Zach Hyman getting the dirty one with 6 seconds left to send it to overtime. And the greatest player in NHL right now happens to play for the Leafs, the number 34 from Scottsdale, Arizona, Muzzy and all, Austin Matthews, getting that nice little one-timer finish to get a decisive Game 5 game.
Did Matthews PR department need to say
that? I don't care, man. I love Austin Matthews.
I remember watching the game. I remember Jay and I were supposed to film a podcast that night, and I was like waiting for the Leafs game to be over. I'm like, you know what? I'll throw it on. I'm like, oh, Columbus is gonna win, Jay. Like, don't worry about it. I throw it on, and they just kept ripping goals in. I'm like, what the heck? This game's gonna go overtime, and it did. And I just wanted to film that podcast. It was so late at night. Jay's like, man, go wait for the Leafs game to be over, then we can film. I'm like, okay. I remember being up at like 11 or 11:30 filming it after, but that was a great.
It was the best game. That game. And the 5 overtime Tampa Bay Columbus game were the best 2 games in the bubble without a question.
No question about that. Yeah. My number 2, Mathias just mentioned it, was the Chiefs. Their Super Bowl run. So like the whole playoffs, I liked how they came back against Houston. Like Mathias said, 24-0. They ended up winning 51-31. Mahomes passing for 321 yards and 5 touchdowns. Kelsey doing Kelsey-like things, 10 receptions, 134 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then obviously they went in the AFC Championship game, won against Tennessee, 35-24. Against Big Derrick Henry. Everyone thought Henry was going to bulldoze over the Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes has had other things to say. And then in the Super Bowl, down 20-10 and scoring 21 points in the fourth quarter to win 31-20. Mahomes getting that Super Bowl MVP. It was just a great run to see. I was cheering for the 49ers. I wanted the 49ers to win. I'm like, oh, this is a sure thing. And then what do you know? Mahomes just does Mahomes and pulled off that win and got the MVP. So that was a good thing. That was great, like, football to watch all 3 of those games.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you like the Super Bowl for other reasons, right?
Oh, that's for number 1, buddy. Don't you worry. I cannot wait. But we have reached the top of everyone's lists. Mathias, let's finish it off. Number 1 moment of 2020 for you.
I have to go with my Reds. Crown champions of England, it finally got done. Unfortunately, it was at an empty Anfield and an empty Cop. I'm sure the scenes would have been majestic. The likes of Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson. We look at an absolute young and up and coming stud. Curtis Jones, Andy Robertson had an absolute season. It was great. It was finally to see. I can die kind of at peace right now, knowing that I've seen, Liverpool win a Premier League. Hopefully it happens again. We go.
I was going to say it's few and far between for a great team like Liverpool getting Premier League titles, eh?
It is. It's tough. We
for whatever reason.
It's just sometimes, like unfair luck. You go through a little bit of financial.
Well, this year, right, with the injury bug bitting them hard.
It's okay. We'll get over it. We got Reece Williams in the back. No big deal. Big Reece, little South London boy. Not a big deal. It's a great team. Jurgen Klopp's a hell of a head coach. Quite the gaffer. Had a tough bounce with Borussia Dortmund against Bayern Munich. Obviously Mario Götze didn't play that game. Arjen Robben just kind of slipped one away, and then he comes to England. New team kind of picks up the squad. Did a great job of picking up players. Andy Robertson kind of came from Hull City. Not a lot of people know that team. Picked up Oxlade-Chamberlain from Arsenal.
The Ox, baby.
The Ox. Virgil van Dijk from the Netherlands. Went and poached Sadio Mane from Southampton. Got himself
Salah from Roma.
Roma was at the point where they didn't know what to do with Salah because he had been at Chelsea before. They were supposed to allegedly sell him to Fiorentina, but
really?
Fiorentina,
Could you imagine?
Fiorentina, at the time, I don't know if you guys know, but Serie A has a rule where you can't have more than 3 non-European players in your roster. So at the time, Salah was still on his Egyptian papers. So he would have to go through the process of taking I think he has to take an exam, an Italian test for him to even
be able to sign.
It's a European and Italian citizen, and it's a bunch of legalities mixed into one. It happened to Suarez too. So that time the trade didn't go through. So Liverpool picked him up for the cheap, for the lows.
That's exactly my point. Yeah.
And we went and got ourselves a little Premier League title, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, that Champions League title last year wasn't too bad either, right?
No, not too bad. Not too bad.
Yes, sir. My number one, Malcolm's Away No podcast episode to hear some stories about this one. Can't wait. Of course, the Kansas City Chiefs San Francisco 49ers game is definitely included in this, but number one for me, without a question, is Super Bowl Sunday as a whole. Absolutely, as Mathias says, majestic day. Started it off, making the jungle juice. If you don't know, if you're 19, look it up, because the jungle juice is the absolute key to a great Super Bowl Sunday for obvious reasons, if you know what jungle juice is. And, we had to take it, maybe, I'm going to call it a power nap from between about 2 to 6. That's what I'm going to call it. That's what I'm going to call it, a power nap. And,
called you a lightweight.
We agree to disagree. And Mathias shows up, and, he was a hungry man. So there happened to be spinach dip that one of our friends happened to make. And Mathias, could you please enlighten Malcolm and the viewers of what is probably the best moment of 2020?
So naturally, as a man, I love food. I'm a big food guy. Jay knows when we come golfing.
We know now.
World, and I always make Jay, how do you want your steak? We got the whole thing going, whole thing brewing. Being South American, food kind of brings people together. So naturally,
it did not with this moment. No, it did not.
Jay was like, "Yo, bro, there's like munchies over there. Help yourself. Me costa, su costa, sort of thing." And I was like, "Yeah, sounds good." Spinach dip was fucking unreal. So naturally, I'm like, "Yo, Jay, who made the spinach dip?" And he points to a female. I'm not gonna say her name. He points to a female.
We could say it. Like Liv's friend Kath.
Okay.
Because he needs to know.
So I like a good human being that I am, I was like, "Oh, do you cook?" Right? Because I was like, "Oh, she made the spinach dip." I wanted to know, like, if she made it, it's a fucking hell of a job. But naturally, for some reason, Brock women have this tendency to get easily offended when I ask a question like that, like, "Oh, do you cook?" It wasn't me trying to be an asshole. It was me asking, like, "Oh, did you make this?" sort of thing, like, because it's good. And naturally, she was so standoffish for the rest of the night. Was just upset.
Absolutely hilarious.
And I felt like a piece of shit because I'm just trying to be a good guy, being a good guest.
So we're gonna tell my side of the story because this is what I remember from this.
Can you recall all parts of the story?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Before, a little prelude is that being the nice human I am, of course. Let's watch Super Bowl together, right? Yeah, sure. Well, I was still in my power nap when they were on their way. So should I get?
Oh yeah, that's why you invited her, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It wasn't the jungle juice.
Yeah, a little bit of enhancement, a bit of an enhancement. No, it was predetermined before the jungle juice as they were coming over. Absolutely.
The jungle juice solidified it.
Bro, I can show you the text after we're done. Don't you worry.
Oh, of course you get the receipts, eh?
That's you need the warranty, buddy.
Sure you do.
So I'm on my way, and It's like there's no way I'm getting out of my bed to get out of there and open the door, right? Like, so if you
Wow,
come,
such a fun guy, eh?
yeah, of course, right? So if anyone asks, like, I invited you, and she goes, "Wait, is there security?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's a security at my Super Bowl party. Absolutely, yeah, nice." But I wake up and I go, "Oh hey," and then "Oh hey," and then Mr. Eric Smith right in my face.
Yeah, it was
It
amazing.
was a great sight. But well, back to the spinach dip. So Mateus gets over here. We're shooting the shit for a couple minutes, and Mateus goes over to Kath. You girls know how to cook? That's what he said.
That's how he said it. That's how he said it.
Yo, you girls know how to
Oh,
cook? Is what he said.
oh my gosh, man. No.
Whether he intended it to come out that way or not,
Yeah.
that's what happened. It might have been all in good nature, but it lives in infamy. And to my podcast host too, Mr. Govius enhanced himself in some jungle juice as well.
Yes.
Laid out on my good roommate Jack Foster's bed for some obvious reasons. He calls me over. He goes, what's going on?" He pulls me over, grabs me over his shoulder. He goes, "You're gonna be my best man at my wedding." I go, "Huh?"
I don't recall this.
Yeah, he goes, "You're gonna be my best man." Like, screw my brother. You're gonna be my best man. Like, okay, good, cool. That's I just want to watch the third quarter. But, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
might I add, this is kind of a fucked up joke, but little Malcolm Govius had to have his girlfriend carry him in beer pong after that. That's not good
You
husband.
played beer pong?
Well, you
Yeah.
don't remember.
Oh, I'm just going to the bathroom. I'm just peeing as he's puking his guts out, and it's
You
poor
were the one
Yasmina's-
puking that night,
Yasmina-
man. I remember.
Yasmina's waiting at the door for you to finish. And like, "Oh no, I'm good. And Yasmina's like, "He's not good."
Not the first time he's had a disappointing finish, eh?
Oh baby.
Damn, bro.
But yeah, Super Bowl Sunday was like the last real time that we've all been together since COVID hit. So it just
No.
resonates more.
No,
And
man.
it was just an absolute time.
We did Moose.
Yeah, but Malcolm's too afraid to go out after 9 o'clock on a school night, so you'll never see him at
Going to
Moose.
Moose. No one, like, you guys are the only guys I really knew who went to Moose, other than your roommates, obviously. But
Yeah, man, we
like,
have the usual
but we
crew.
had the time of our lives. At Moose.
Absolutely, bro.
I know. Trust me, I keep hearing this. Don't worry. I know.
Connor was there too, right?
Yeah, Connor, Matt Lyons, the
Matt
whole
Lyons.
crew, the usual
Yeah.
Moose Wednesday crew. But
And
Malcolm's a little scared past 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night. I usually passed out after a couple
Did my own
casuals.
Did
he was
my
too
own things.
busy worrying about what asshat he was gonna get.
But yeah, make the long story short, Super Bowl Sunday was the best night of 2020 without a question.
Okay. My number one, obviously, to finish it all off here, Mathias already said it, is LeBron James and the Lakers winning this in the NBA championship, and LeBron getting his fourth Finals MVP. Obviously, 4 rings, 4 Finals MVPs. I think that if LeBron lost, then there was so much at stake for his legacy, because everyone's saying, "Oh, like, he can't lose to this Miami Heat team and only has Jimmy Butler and like nobody else." And then he had Anthony Davis to help him, obviously. So there was a lot at stake here, but he showed up because he almost scored 30 points per game, 11.8 rebounds and 8.5 assists, including in the Game 5 clincher, 40 points he scored that game. So you can't deny that he's probably, in my opinion, the best basketball player of all time.
You win, buddy.
He shot 59% from the field and 41.7 from 3. So people saying that he can't shoot, he was shooting lights out this series. He really wanted it. I can't wait for this podcast to have the LeBron Jordan debate, because I'm going to pull out all the stats.
A little part 2 action.
A little part 2.
Let's make it a viral movie, baby.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does 2020. We put a bow on everything that's been great with 2020. Not as much. I'm sure we wanted to have a little thicker list than what we've had now because of all the interruptions and pauses and cancellations of 2020. But all we can look forward to is a great 12 months of 2021. And, I'll get to see Mateus' face call more times maybe, and maybe Malcolm past 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night.
Maybe.
For a little Moose Wednesday action. Maybe we'll get so lucky. But, there's a lot of big things coming from Pure Finesse, and you're going to hear about it when 2021 rolls back through. Maybe see Mateus a bit more often on Pure Finesse's page. Maybe not, but I'm sure he's excited for it. We're excited for it. So until New Year's Day, thanks, Mateus, buddy, for coming on. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you guys for having me.
Keeping us humble, showing us a little bit more of a more subtle side of Mateus,
Got me crying today, so
right. So great moments with you as usual, my friend. Thank you for coming on. Malcolm, Jacob, it's been a great year.
Yes, sir.